Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And as you can see, that was the little clip of the intro for my brand new podcast alongside my big brother, EJ Jones, entitled the Crescent City Connection podcast. The first episode will be premiering on this Friday. So I'm going to put the link down in the comments, and I just encourage everybody who has not subscribed already to go ahead and hit that link and subscribe to the Crescent City Connection podcast YouTube channel, because the first show will be once again this Friday. But we're going to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. Of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about the little news that came out of Miami involving Sean Payton. And was Sean Payton seriously going to Miami? We're also going to be talking about wide receiver Chris Olave and his relationship with Michael Thomas, and the Saints re-signing Jawan Johnson to a 1-year extension. But I ask that everybody go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that like button. Let's get those likes up, okay? If you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and put a thumbs up in the comments if you are enjoying the content. So let's talk a little bit about Sean Payton. This was a huge story, especially coming from NBC Sports. I want to say Mike Florio came out with this news, and it was about Sean Payton possibly being traded to the Miami Dolphins. Now, the New Orleans Saints organization have denied these claims, saying that they did not have any interest in sending Sean Payton to Miami. But Miami said that they did try to ask about Sean Payton. They inquired about him, right, to see if they can possibly get Sean Payton away from the New Orleans Saints. And now it's one organization saying one thing and another organization saying the other. So who do I believe? Who do I believe? Who do you believe? Put it down in the comments. Tell me, who do you believe? Do you believe the Saints or do you believe the Dolphins? This is going to sound crazy, folks, but I believe the Dolphins. That's right. I believe the Dolphins. I believe the Dolphins were seriously trying to get Sean Payton. And I think the New Orleans Saints knew they were trying to get Sean Payton. But of course, because of all the stuff that happened with Brian Flores, it would have made the Saints organization look bad. I'm just going to be serious. There is no way in the world that a team like the Miami Dolphins would have fired or let go a guy who have put this team in the best position they have been in over a decade. There is no way that this team would have done this if they didn't have something better coming through. Me personally, I feel like there was some smoke-filled room type conversation going on here where one does not touch the other. Okay. If we're hearing about Brian Flores going on a yacht to talk to Tom Brady, if we're hearing about all of these mysterious things that the Miami Dolphins tried to do, and try to, tamper and all that kind of stuff, what makes us believe that they wouldn't have fired Brian Flores to try to get Sean Payton? And I feel like the New Orleans Saints knew about it. I feel like the conversations happened, whether we're going to put it on a record or not. But I just think once Brian Flores came out there and said that he was unjustifiably fired, then that's when the Saints tried to moonwalk like Michael Jackson in the 25th anniversary special of Motown. I really, truly believe that. Now, this might not be popular opinion, but I don't care, because we live in this world today. If it's not documented, if it's not videotaped, then we can deny. Look, man, Mickey Loomis says a lot without saying nothing. Okay, he's a lawyer. I think that was his job before he became the general manager. He's a lawyer. So this guy can make you believe something that isn't true. I feel that they did talk to him. I really do. And I just feel like they tried to absolve themselves because they didn't want to be a part of the little collusion deal that got Brian Flores fired. So, I mean, that's the only logical explanation. And it would make perfect sense if you think about it, because why would you fire Brian Flores? Why would you fire him? This guy had your team on a 7-game winning streak. had them almost in a playoff last year, right? There were one game. If they would have beat Buffalo, they would have been in the playoffs. So this team was on the uptick. I do not believe that they would just have fired him. I mean, your standards aren't that high, Miami. The Miami Dolphins organization standards aren't that high. So I definitely believe that they had those conversations. And I really think that the Saints were open to this particular thing, because if you don't want to believe that, then how would we sit up here and believe that Sean Payton almost went to the Dallas Cowboys? He almost did, right? But Mickey Loomis said that, Anthony Davis is about to leave, go to Los Angeles to play for the Lakers. I cannot be responsible for Anthony Davis leaving as well as Sean Payton leaving. And then you got Drew Brees retiring. Nah, man, you got to stay here. So I really honestly believe that the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints were talking to one another behind the scenes. I mean, I don't care what they say. I don't care what they trying to put together. I hear a story now. You see some backtracking talking about, instead of talking to Mickey Loomis, they talked to Jeff Ireland, and Jeff Ireland talked to Mickey Loomis. And that's why they're saying that the Saints organization talked to the Miami Dolphins. Well, I mean, Jeff Ireland, technically, he is a part of the Saints organization. So I guess you can get away with that. And that's good clickbait. But I think that conversations were had behind the scenes. Brian Flores came out there with the allegations against the Miami Dolphins, and the Saints were like, "Oh snap, let's move away from this, okay?" And we ain't got no paper trail going, right? Let's leave no evidence. Let's leave no voicemails. Let's leave nothing out here where they can track it back to us. But I really think that the owner of the Miami Dolphins saw that there's a possibility that he could have got Sean Payton, and he was like, "Man, well, if I fire Brian Flores and we get Sean Payton, I think the Miami Dolphins organization would have fully understood. The fans would have understood." And it backfired on them because they didn't expect for Brian Flores to sacrifice his own career in order to bring some of these stories to the forefront. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I do not believe the Saints organization did not talk to the Miami Dolphins in some way, shape, or form. They can lie about it. They can deny it. They can say, "Oh, we ain't got nothing, no paper trail, no phone call, so therefore it didn't happen." But I believe that it did. There's no way in the world that a guy whose team been struggling to even sniff the playoffs over the past decade is going to get rid of a coach that got his team that close if he didn't have a better alternative. I mean, it's just as simple as that. But I would love to hear what you all think about that. What do you guys think about the New Orleans Saints organization? Do you believe that they talked to the Miami Dolphins? Do you think that Sean Payton was close to leaving the New Orleans Saints via trade to the Miami Dolphins? What do you all think? Chosen said, "I believe the Dolphins." Yeah, me too. Because, like I said, Chosen, they have nothing to gain from this. They have nothing to gain, and they really have nothing to lose. Why would they sit up here and lie and say that they reached out to the Saints organization if they didn't? Why would they even bring it up? So I believe them. To me, it's up to Sean Payton really a little bit. I kind of feel like the Saints are hiding that they wanted him in. Look, Ramsey, to me, Sean Payton wanted to lead the New Orleans Saints. And I just think that they had these conversations before. And I think that it was the perfect circumstance if you think about it, right? He's not playing in the NFC anymore. He's playing in the AFC, right? So you only have to worry about seeing him every, 4 years? He goes to a place like Miami. I mean, I don't know if y'all ever been to Miami, but my goodness, what a beautiful place to live, okay? You know what I'm saying? Waking up, sunshine, beaches, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it don't get any better than that. Plus, it's a historical franchise. I mean, Don Shula, right? I mean, Mercury Morris, right? Dan Marino. Mark Super Duper, the Marx brothers, right? You know what I'm saying? Mark Ingram. So you think about these guys, right? You think about this organization, it would have been a perfect circumstance. You don't have to worry about seeing Sean Payton every other year in the NFC, right? You know what I'm saying? You get them out of the National Football Conference, you put them in the AFC. And like I said, it's a really good circumstance. You got a promising quarterback, you got good wide receivers, you got a good defense. You can build on that. So I think that was they were talking, okay? And I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. You know, when I talk to like people behind the scenes, as far as like some of the people that was kind of close to the situation that was going on, the person, you know what I'm saying, they were telling me, man, it's about to get bigger. You know what I'm saying? Something else is about to, happen. And the person told me, that Sean Payton was about to step down as the coach of the Saints. And then a week later it happened. And then he was like, well, it's not going to be, it's not over yet. He going to coach again. So why would he say that, right? He was right about the whole Sean Payton thing, him stepping down. And he was like, well, he will coach again, all right? So he called his shot. And I think that when he said he was going to coach again, I think the Miami Dolphins job was the one that he was talking about. I mean, but of course, Brian Flores, like I said, he came out here, sacrificed his career, and it backfired on the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Maybe, it's happening behind the scenes, unbeknownst to Brian Flores, and he probably realized what was happening, what was going to go down, and all of a sudden, he was like, man, look, I'm about to blow this thing up because it wasn't right. But I definitely believe the Dolphins. I do not believe the Saints. I love the Saints. I love the Saints organization, but I mean, I feel like it's really ignorant of a person, and I don't feel bad about saying the word ignorant. Ignorant just means that you don't know. I just feel like it's ignorant of people who feel that the New Orleans Saints organization, those coaches, those executives stand in front of the podium and tell you everything that's going on with the team. Okay, I mean it's not true. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that we don't know about, and we will never know about. But that's just the way that it goes, folks. I believe Miami Dolphins, their front office, were trying to get Harbaugh. They were trying to get a high-profile coach. So their fan base can understand, right? People were mad. Miami Dolphins fans were mad at the fact that, they got rid of Brian Flores. But if you would have replaced him with Sean Payton, and everybody like, man, you know what? I'm sorry about Brian, but man, we got a Super Bowl winning coach here, right? You get Jim Harbaugh, like, okay, man, that make a little sense. He won a couple games. He won a Big Ten championship out there and got Michigan turned around a little bit. And also he had the 49ers in the Super Bowl, so you can understand that, right? So I just think that that's what the owner was kind of, trying to do. But I just think that it backfired because he wasn't expecting Brian Flores to do what he did. Miami Dolphins definitely made a big mistake firing Brian Flores. Now he's in Pittsburgh. Like I said, Jerry, I just think they fired him because they thought that they can get something better. They may have been trying, but I don't think the Saints would have moved on that. Those fish trying to make things look better for themselves. They fired that man, then wanted to push for the best. So if the glove don't fit, yeah, look, I think that, look, I said it. I just said this. I believe the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I do. Like, look, there's no way in the world. Like, I'm serious. This owner is the biggest idiot on this side of the Western Hemisphere, or he has something else that he was trying to do, and he understood what he had to do in order to make it happen. And maybe, like I said, I really believe that they had talks going on. I'm serious. I really think that they had some talks going on. I think that they probably was going to put this thing into place, but they were not counting on Brian Flores spilling the beans. They did not expect him to go out here and blow the whistle. Okay, I really felt that way. Miami was right on firing Flores. He took a huge demotion with Steelers. Funny, Flores could have been a DC. Well, I don't think that they were right for firing the guy because I think that Brian Flores was a good coach, okay? Especially in comparison to what y'all actually had over the years. Guys like Cam Cameron and Joe Philbin, and, guys like that. So I honestly, truly believe that, they made the right decision. They made the right decision by hiring this guy, and this dude had this team going in the right direction. Now, if you're going to say that he deserves to be fired, then you have to explain to me why Dan Campbell still has a job. Right? I mean, honestly, you got to explain to me how the fact that Zach Taylor was able to maintain his job for a couple of years with a few losing seasons. Did you not see Zach Taylor's record when they went to the Super Bowl? I mean, the dude only won 16 games total, right? But he had this team in that thing, right? So the way I look at it, if the Bengals weren't as patient as they were, then we wouldn't have seen this dude in there. Then you had to give me, explain to me why Cliff Kingsbury just got an extension. Man, the Cardinals weren't winning too many games. They made the playoff this year, but leading up to this year, he'd been there for a couple of years. And they didn't make the playoffs. And it was like third or almost last in the division. So if we're going to sit up here and say Brian Flores don't deserve a job, then why these guys still got one? I don't believe that, okay? I just think that this guy felt like he had something better brewing up, and he tried to get rid of Brian Flores, and it backfired. I mean, that's just my opinion. What if Flores had the heads up on Payton and it's that ace that he could have been commenting on? What if the NFL is aware and asks Payton to sit out for a year? Man, that kind of stuff I don't put it past any of those things, any of those scenarios you're talking about, Patrick. I don't put it past. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't look past anything that the NFL is capable of. Like I said, I just think that sometimes we can be gullible, including myself. I think that we can be gullible. We feel like when we read these articles and when we look at these stories, we feel like we got the whole truth. But we don't. We don't have the whole truth. As I eat my hash brown. We don't have the whole truth. Sometimes, like, we think that we do, but we don't. And, there's a lot of things that they hide from us. There's a reason why, a couple years ago when Michael Sam came out as being, gay. And, all of a sudden, like, this dude, like, was the co-SEC player of the year, and he dropped to the 7th round. There's a reason why the NFL called the Rams and asked them to draft the dude. Oh, it's a 7th round, like, just go ahead and draft him, right? There's a reason why when guys get concussions, there are like notifications that come around basically saying, without saying, maybe you need to look twice about getting this guy. There's a reason why a guy like Colin Kaepernick is not in the league. So why are we sitting up here, like, honestly believing that whatever they telling us, they on the up and up? We have these conversations all the time, folks, don't we? We have these conversations about how the NFL blackballs and they manipulate things, and they try to do these things for transparency. I mean, we watch this all the time. Do y'all not see these interviews where these commentators or these reporters are 6 feet apart from the player, and then all of a sudden when the interview is over, they hug? It's all about transparency, folks, right? It's about what it looks like. But if you peel back the layers, you peel back the curtains, you'll actually see what's really going on. So I do not believe the New Orleans Saints. I love the Saints. I love the Saints organization, but I don't believe them. I don't. I mean, I watched too many Mickey Loomis interviews in my lifetime to know that this dude can say a lot without saying anything at all, And also, I just feel like he's reached that level where, he can kind of like, I mean, we may think about it, kind of blow it off, but wasn't Sean Payton in talks of becoming an analyst? He was in talks about becoming an analyst, but that was before all that stuff started to go down, to be honest. Look, plans always change. If you notice what Sean Payton said, it's like, do you plan on coaching? I mean, do you want to coach again? He said, I ain't planning on it. Why did he use that? Why he just didn't say no, right? He said, I ain't planning on it. So when you say I don't plan on, like, let's just say, oh, you going to the store? Man, I don't plan on going to the store. Well, you might look in the refrigerator and realize that what you're trying to make, you might need some seasoning. You might need, some other ingredients. So you go to the store. You may not plan on it, but that's where you went. So I don't buy, like, I appreciate how some people, just take everything that, some of these commentators, some of these organizations say and be like, oh man, that's what it is. Like, man, the NFL, is a lot of smoke and mirrors going on around this thing. I don't believe them. I just don't. It really is. What was your question, TJ? I was in the bathroom when you answered. Shout out everyone in the chat. I believe Miami. I knew the minute Sean Payton retired, he just wanted to leave us not coaching. Look, you have to ask the question why. You know, you're saying that he was burnt out, but I honestly I just believe the Dolphins. Why he was trying to leave the Saints so bad where he had a lot of control. Well, Alfred, it's not always about that. Sometimes you want to see if you can, if you can go out here and do it all again. Like this guy's been with the same team for 16 years. I mean, sometimes, you get burned out. Same facility, same city, same key card, same office. Sometimes you want to go out here and see if you can actually build somewhere else. We seen it when Andy Reid leaves Philly, goes to Kansas City, and look, Kansas City, 4 AFC championships, 1 Super Bowl title, 2 Super Bowl appearances, arguably got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and Patrick Mahomes. So sometimes you want to go other places to see if you can actually survive, But I mean, it's a little bit different because Andy Reid, they say he stepped down, but really, I think that Howie Roseman probably went to him and said, man, we might want to go in another direction, but we're not going to fire you. We're going to try to save face, right? We're going to try to, he got fired. he stepped down on Sunday, got a job on Monday. Come on, man. All right. I mean, you telling me, okay, you lead a podium, then all of a sudden Kansas City call, and all of a sudden oh yeah, let me go here. Knock it off. That's another example of people talk behind the scenes. There's no way in the world that dude would have got the job that quick if they didn't talk. But like I said, it's about going out here and spreading your wings. Dolphins owner wanted Harbaugh, but didn't want to take him from Michigan. Payton going to Miami when you hear the Breeze to Tua comparison. Yeah. Jimmy Johnson couldn't even win in Miami. That would have been a mistake. Well, look, things change. We can't just talk about the days of yesteryear, because if that was the case, we shouldn't even have a show, right? The Saints stunk, right? But look what Sean Payton has turned to him. You know what I'm saying? Turned them into a legitimate franchise. The Miami Dolphins are nowhere on the level of the New Orleans Saints when it comes to being a snake-bitten franchise. I mean, it's just true. Sorry, folks. The Miami Dolphins have a more rich tradition of winning than the Saints. So even if we talk about the Miami Dolphins and how they have been snake-bitten over the last couple of years, they have not been snake-bitten longer than the New Orleans Saints have. And now when you think about the New Orleans Saints and what Sean Payton has done with this team, you look at it and say, hey, man, he turned this team around. Some of you don't even realize or even remember the Saints being a bad football team. And it has a lot to do with Sean Payton. So who's to say that he wouldn't have done it again? He has that capability. Josh, thank you very much for the $5. Says, TJ, I just started a weight loss channel on Insta. It's Eat Godly. Would you mind pointing a few people in my direction? Well, just check it out at Eat Godly. I'll leave it up on the screen, man. Y'all make sure for those that on Instagram, y'all check them out. Check out Josh's channel, Eat Godly. Y'all check it out. Alfred, thank you very much for $4.99. Says, why was Sean Payton trying to lead so bad? That's the question. I don't even think he was trying to lead so bad. I just think that he was trying to take on a new challenge. Man, I know I ain't the only person that has had a job or have been doing something in my lifetime, and I'm just doing something consistently over and over again. It becomes absolutely redundant. And I'm like, man, I'm looking for a new challenge, right? I mean, we do it at work. We do it in life. We have to do it in marriage, like when we're married or we're in a relationship. You can't do the same things over and over again and expect for it to grow or prosper. I mean, it can get boring. It can get stale, right? Yeah, there's new challenges. There's new players. But at the same time, man, you want to take on a new challenge. By new challenge means an organization. And I have absolutely no problem with Sean Payton at all. If he was to leave and go to another team, I wouldn't be mad at him, because I feel better about the New Orleans Saints as a franchise, a staff, organization, and mother-loving crew today than I have ever felt in my 35 years of existence. And it has a lot to do with him. You know, that's the whole point of a job, being in a position of leadership, is to leave an organization or a situation better than how you found it. And if you are a logical Saints fan, you would say that he did just that. So I have no problem with that. Flores is in a good situation now in Pittsburgh. Miami owner is trash. Well, I just think that he's a businessman. You know, I think that he does exactly what some of these other people do in business. You know, they use people to get what they want, and then, you know, they find something better, yeah, out you go. I mean, that's just business. You know, not good business, but a lot of people, you know, they done stepped on a lot of people and chewed people up and spit them out on their way to the top. And the owner of the Miami Dolphins is no exception. Okay, that's just the cruel part of business that we don't really pay attention to. What is funny is Miami had Adam Gase, who had the same direction as Flores, but Gase got Miami to the playoffs, something Flores didn't do. Yeah, I mean, but he had them knocking on the door of the playoffs. Like I said, man, look, Buffalo, look, think about this. Now, if they had an additional game, was not this year, but last year, they would have been in the playoffs. So he would have been on the same playing field as Adam Gase. Look, I'm not buying that, man. Like, look at all these bad coaches that still have jobs to this day, that these guys are willing to give these guys another chance. Think about that, man. Like Robert Saleh, you know, like, come on, man. Like, the Jets stink. Okay, so if they had that same logic out there in New York as they had in Miami, but they're giving this guy a chance, they're giving Dan Campbell a chance, they gave Cliff Kingsbury a chance, they gave Zach Taylor a chance to turn it around. So why can't they do the same thing for Brian Flores? And then on top of that, the first 2 seasons, you know what I'm saying, that he was coaching, they started to get better. So I don't understand that, man. Like, we are so impatient these days. Growing up, I used to like see coaches stink. I'm talking about absolutely stink. They'll be with an organization 4 and 5 years because the owners would give these guys opportunities. But the thing about it is, we are so quick to dismiss things. We're so quick to give up on stuff. So, I mean, it's just plain and simple. You know, people are just completely impatient. There's this, you know, man, there's this level of ADD, ADHD that people have now, where people don't allow things to develop. We don't. You know what I'm saying? That's why some of us lose our doggone mind when we start channels, you know what I'm saying, when we start businesses, and we don't automatically out the gate, as soon as we open the front door, have a line wrapped around the corner. Oh, man, I'm a failure. I give up, man. This tough. Like, people used to have coaches 4 and 5 years, man. Owners still don't give up on them. But that's how we do. Dude have 1-2 losing seasons, then all of a sudden, man, we need to get fired. He need to get fired. Like, we have no patience anymore. And, you know, because the general public doesn't have patience anymore, you know, that's the reason why, you know, owners have to react the way that they do. People ask, well, why these owners, man? Why they just don't invest in these guys? It's because of how we are as people. Our team lose 1 game. We ready to blow up the whole thing. We ready to blow it all up. Don't lose 2. Don't lose 3 games. Oh, my goodness. All of a sudden, the whole organization needs to get fired. We have no patience anymore. And because we don't have any patience, it causes for the ownership of these teams not to have patience. So that's the reason why you have guys like Brian Flores getting fired. That's the reason why you have, you know what I'm saying, some of these people out here who only got like 1 or 2 years to figure it out. It's sad, man, but, you know, we make them the way that they are. It's sorry, it is what it is. Hoodie Jew, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says, kind of like the situation with Jameis in Tampa, 3 different head coaches in his first 4 seasons. Yeah, it's one of those situations where, you know, people are just completely impatient. You know, you look at the Cleveland Browns, all those different coaches that they had, right? They had Hugh Jackson. Who else they had? Mike Pettin. Then they got Kevin Stefanski. I'm like, man, they was rolling them coaches out. TJ, the big game Miami had to win was versus Tennessee this year, and Miami looked horrible even the defense, and defense is Miami's strong point that cost them a playoff spot. Well, everybody has bad games, but we can, like I said, we can pinpoint and talk about this all day. But Miami was in a better position with Brian Flores as their coach, as they did any other guys that you name. Those guys did not have any respect for Adam Gase. They did not have no respect for Joe Philbin. I mean, I even had, Rashard Matthews, a former Miami Dolphins player on the show, talking about how Miami was had a bad organization, and how, like how the communication between front office and player was not good, right? And coach and player was not good. So, when you have a player that guys can buy into and believe in, like, it's hard for me to say that guy just needs to lose his job, especially after I'm seeing guys who didn't even have as many wins as him still have a job. And we use labels like tough and, and gritty I mean, come on, man. How tough and gritty are you if your team won 3 and 4 games? Y'all can be tough, but y'all not tough enough. If we doing it based on that logic, you're not tough enough. You're not gritty enough. But, speaking of the Cleveland Browns, I really do not mind Baker Mayfield. He could fit in the same system, Baker Mayfield, but I still want Jameis Winston. Look, man, somebody like Baker needs to go to a team that has a coordinator or a coach that's dialed in, focused on trying to make him a better quarterback and see the field a little bit different. If Sean Payton was still the head coach of the Saints, then I would say yes. But I don't think so, man. He needs somebody that's going to help him see the field a little bit different, and I just think that the Saints organization would not be a good fit for him right now. Now, if Sean Payton was still here, I'd probably say yes, because Sean Payton has a way of getting things out of guys and helping them see things that they didn't see, and also building a scheme around them. The biggest benefit that Jameis would have if he was to re-sign with the Saints is the fact that he's been with the team for 3 years. So he understands the offensive concepts. They understand him, and they can build something like around him based on what they already, got from him last season. I just think that with Baker, I think he needs somebody that can help him see the field just a little bit differently. So I would say he need to go somewhere. I mean, even, I don't know, like New York or something like that, where a coach actually put emphasis on the quarterback position. All right. Scroll down. Aaron says the discussion of Payton to Dallas is so toxic. Let me see, in Dallas, and they can't even respect the coach. They have tried to get to Payton. Yeah, that is mad disrespectful, man. Mike McCartney, as much as you might want to talk about the guy, dude's still a person. You know what I'm saying? He's still a human being. And, the fact that you just stepping over him to get to the next guy, yeah, that is mad disrespectful. But I want to switch gears a little bit, man. We talked a little bit about this, talked a little bit longer than I wanted to, but we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the NFL Combine. The Combine kicked off on yesterday, if you're checking out this show on a Thursday. Yesterday, you had some player interviews, and one guy who spoke to the media was Chris Olave. Chris Olave, a wide receiver at Ohio State, had a really good season. A lot of people want to see him in a Saints uniform, but he had an opportunity to speak with the media, and he talked a little bit about his relationship with wide receiver Michael Thomas. Check it out.
I talked to Mike Thomas a couple times, called him a couple times. He gave me a lot of advice. He's a great role model to me, one of the best receivers in the game for previous years and years to come. So just to be able to communicate with him, and he's an Ohio State legend. So just to be able to, like I said, communicate with him and send texts back and forth and see from his perspective what they expect, and just to be able to use him as a guy to lean on. I feel like it's huge. So
it's great. And have you met with the Saints this week so far?
Yes, sir. I met with the Saints on Monday also. It was a great meeting. Love to be there. New Orleans is a good city. I played in New Orleans one time against Clemson, and ended up being good. So it'll be a great organization, like I said. And Mike Thomas is there. They got a lot of Buckeyes there, and I love to keep that Buckeye pipeline.
So as you can see, Chris Olave, said that he would embrace playing for the New Orleans Saints. So Chris Olave is an incredible wide receiver. I mean, the dude is like really, really good. I mean, if you watched Ohio State football, you would actually know some of the stats that he actually put up. Big time numbers last season, 65 receptions, 936 yards, 13 touchdowns. I mean, completely consistent throughout his time at Ohio State. He's one of those guys that's a possession guy. He's a guy that's not the fastest guy in the world, but I mean, he has those vice grip hands. I mean, he can make those contested catches. He's a crisp route runner. His ability to get in and out of his cuts, I mean, a top notch. And I just think that, he can be that solid number 2 receiver that the New Orleans Saints need. He's a guy got a good head on his shoulders. He's very confident in his abilities. And I just think that he would be, a good fit for the New Orleans Saints. And this relationship with Michael Thomas, I think that will actually help him. Those Ohio State guys in the Saints locker room, I mean, they got this relationship. And those guys take a lot of pride at the fact that, they went to Ohio State, and the Saints look at that university as guys that can actually transform an organization. So Chris Olave, to me, is my top receiver. I know some people was talking about Jameson Williams, and I seen the footage of him, making progress. I mean, he's way ahead of schedule, being, a few weeks removed from that ACL injury. But, Chris Olave is the guy that I feel like a lot of people need to be putting emphasis on. He reminds me a lot of Devontae Smith when he was playing at Alabama. Also with Philly, man, I think that he's going to be a guy who is going to make a lot of noise. I think his rookie campaign, he did some good things you can build on. Chris Olave, I think that, he can do some things that, he can build on. So should be interesting, man. Should be interesting. Very, very interesting to see what direction the Saints are going to go in. Everybody's trying to get these guys make these guys draft a quarterback. Nobody is really putting emphasis on, possibly them re-signing Jameis. I don't know why they just look at it like this dude is just damn as good. Everything that I'm seeing telling me that the Saints are really going to try to re-sign Jameis Winston from them bringing back, Pete Carmichael as the offensive coordinator, keeping some of the same coaching staff offensively around, and trying to keep the offensive playbook as familiar as possible. Guys are not going to do that if, you're going out here trying to draft a young quarterback, in my opinion. You're not going to try to go out here and get all these guys that played with the same dude last year if you're going to try to get yourself a quarterback. I just think that that's wishful thinking. And we all know that the media, it's just the truth. They try to push narratives to make players, convince players that they need to go somewhere else. We've seen it being done when it comes to Zion, right? Everybody's trying to beat down Zion, talk about how he's not happy, and all of a sudden, they want him to leave. He needs to leave New Orleans, right? That's what they try to do. They want, they want certain narratives to happen to make themselves feel like they are actually, moving pop culture. To be honest with you, they want to believe that they're actually moving the narrative. Crazy, right? Hoodie Jew, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says Williams, Burke, Wilson, Olave are all available at 18 for us. Who you going with? Me, I'm going with Burks or Williams. I'm going with Olave. I'm going with Olave because even though Jameson Williams is fast, even though Jameson Williams is, he showed me some against Cincinnati as far as his ability to be able to run routes. I mean, you're coming off an ACL injury, at the wide receiver position. It's a little different when you're a quarterback, right? You know what I'm saying? When you tear your ACL as a wide receiver, it's going to take you a while to really get back to your true form, unless you're Wes Welker or something like that and made of mutant blood or something. But I just think that Chris Olave, he's a guy right now. You don't have to worry about, what type of wide receiver he's going to be removed from this injury or that injury. This guy has shown you consistency throughout his career. And even though, his numbers, if you compare him to Jameson Williams, are not, are not the same. I've seen this before. I've seen this movie quite a few times in my lifetime where we actually go for the guy who has the big numbers. We go for the guy who makes the big plays. And then all of a sudden, when he goes to the NFL, the guy who is just fundamentally sound ends up being a better player than him. Because if you think about this, man, I'm going to go back, if I could, I'm going to go back to the NFL draft back in 2016, right? I'm going to go back to this. And this was the year where the Saints drafted Michael Thomas, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you, right? You had Corey Coleman, right, from Baylor. He was drafted before Michael Thomas. You had Will Fuller, who was drafted before Michael Thomas. You had Josh Doxson, who was drafted before Michael Thomas. Laquan Treadwell, who was drafted before Michael Thomas. All of those guys coming out of school had a bunch of fanfare. Corey Coleman had a lot of fanfare. And then all of a sudden, you stroll down here, Sterling Shepard, who had a good campaign at Oklahoma. And then you have Michael Thomas. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers that were drafted before Michael Thomas. And Michael Thomas is better than all of those guys. The only thing that Michael Thomas coming out of Ohio State had was he was fundamentally sound. He wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but he can catch really well. So I'm not buying like the whole star-studded, star-filled event, where guys just put up, astronomical numbers, and then all of a sudden, like, oh man, he's supposed to be a sure thing. I like fundamental guys, because I feel like you can actually build with those guys, But I think that Chris Olave will be a good fit, not just because he went to Ohio State, but because I just feel like what the Saints do offensively, he fits well in that organ. I feel like the skill set of Jameson Williams doesn't really fit the wide receiver mold. I would love to have him, but the way that the Saints are structured at the wide receiver and how they call plays, I just think that Chris Olave is a better fit. Now, I ain't gonna say a better player, okay? I think they both on the same playing field when it comes to like talent. But, I think that both guys will do well. Depends on the circumstance they go in. The media wants all the superstar players to play for the big market teams. Yeah, because they want to travel there. They want to be able to travel to. They want to know that they can go to Los Angeles, right? At least, at the end of the season. They want to know that they can go to Miami at the end of the season. They want to know they can go to New York at the end of the season. I mean, if you going to a championship in Cleveland, right? I mean, where you gonna go? Applebee's, you know what I'm saying? Like TGI Fridays, right? But you go to Los Angeles, be able to rub elbows with all the celebrities and go to these night restaurants and go to these private clubs. That's what they want, man. It's not even about the players. It's about them and what they want. I get tired of watching that stuff, to be honest. I get tired of watching some of this stuff that comes across my television screen and how people just yelling and screaming to the top of their lungs, trying to convince people that, oh, this player needs to go to Boston. I don't know, man. It's just this. I mean, it's just this false sense of reality that's going on right now. Davenport, did we stop the Giants, ATL, Carolina, Miami? I'm not sure what we're talking about here. I don't know if there's a conversation within the comments. I honestly think Chris Willoughby, my rival Michael Thomas, if he goes to New Orleans Saints, because his catching ability. Well, man, look, all I'm saying is this: Michael Thomas is the number one receiver. I just think that you have a number one receiver. You need somebody that's going to be a solid number two. You need somebody that's going to be a solid, guy in case Michael Thomas goes down, he can step up. And I think this guy gives you that ability. The wide receivers corp about to go from the biggest weakness to a real strength real quick. Mike T, a first-round pick, and a couple young guys who pick up experience last year. Yeah, I think so. Night War Philly Phil, I hope they don't let Jameis go because he's done improved himself a whole lot for the organization. Well, I don't know about for the organization as of yet, but I mean, he's improving himself and he's really come out here to really put his best foot forward. And you have to be proud of the progress that he's made, man. You know, you got some people out here, you know, they'll never buy into this dude because once again, nobody really pays attention to, you know, the obvious, right? They're always looking and listening to what somebody else say, you know, kind of like sheep, you know, to be honest with you. They don't really do the research. You know, you think that you hear these pundits talk and you think that you got the full story. I mean, look, I enjoy sports banter as well as the next man. I'm not saying that, you know, these guys aren't talented or what they do. But all I'm saying is they're not the last word. And I think a lot of these guys, they have this arrogance about themselves is because they feel like they have the last word, you know. But to me, I don't care what anybody says. I go about what I see, my eye test, you know what I'm saying? And doing research based on, you know, things that I see and put together like the things that I put together as far as research. I think you're doing yourself a huge disservice when you just go and listen to these pundits and then go back and just regurgitate and tell your neighbors and tell the people at your barbershop and tell your friends, you know what I'm saying, just so you can sound smart, basically saying the same exact things that you heard, you know, and you get a lot of that stuff going on. I love all my Who Dat family. We're going to have a good season. Don't worry about nothing. Who that. Say they're going to beat them Saints. Raymond, yeah, that's the kind of optimism that we have, you know. I don't – you got some people out here, you know, they're doing shows. I don't know, man. Maybe they got a crystal ball. Maybe they hanging out with Nostradamus or Miss Cleo and them. But for some apparent reason, they just think that they know what's going to happen to the Saints before it happened. You know, they got this dude on social media right now going around basically talking about, man, people talking about the Saints, they not worried, but – you know, back in the day, like first off, when people start talking to me about back in the day, I just zone out. I just completely zone out because why are you talking to me about what happened 10 years ago? What happened 12 years ago? Right? I'm living in the now. Okay. I'm living in the now. We do ourselves a disservice by going back in the crates and trying to equate what happened back then and bringing it to the forefront. So when people start talking like that, you know, I just stop listening. And also, you know, I have a huge problem with like some of these, you know, people that have these shows. And I don't know if they just watch these other pundits and they just think that, oh, man, that's what made them get ahead. So I'm going to be the same way. You know, it's just absolutely, man, it's only so much I can actually take. Okay, I like social media because it gives me opportunity to interact with each and every one of you and talk about football and post different things. But some of these people, I don't know what the hell going on. I don't know what happened. I really don't. It just bothers me, man. And, you know, I just don't understand it. Like, how can you possibly know what a team is going to do before it actually gets done? Right? I mean, if you expect the worst is going to happen. Even when a situation isn't at its worst, it's going to be even worse because you expect the situation to be worse, right? So if it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, being worse, if it's a 3, it's a 5 to you. If it's a 5, it's a 7. And if it's a 7, it's a 10. So I just say stay tuned. Call me now for your free reading. Call me now for your free reading. And they got a special about Miss Cleo coming out really soon, what I heard. The real credible source for info are beat reporters and podcasters who have their finger on the pulse of the day-to-day operations. National talking heads. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. When you got guys like Nick Underhill who do a hell of a job, when you got guys like Ross Jackson, Deuce, Big Q, Aaron, Hooded Jube, you know what I'm saying, CB, you know what I'm saying, like, I throw myself in there, you know, like, but when you got people like, man, we eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Seriously. Like, man, I'm telling y'all, 100. I know sometimes y'all be like, man, TJ, man, why he ain't do no show? If I ain't feeling it, I'm not doing it. Because I feel like I'm doing a disservice to every single person that listens to this podcast. That's why sometimes, like, you know, when stories come out, I mean, if I'm doing something, I'm not feeling it, I'm not trying to get behind the mic, and I'm not going to give you my all, I'm not doing no show. But you have these guys Monday through Friday. They have to come out with content. A lot of these guys aren't doing the research on their own. They have interns. They have assistants who burn the midnight oil, who come up with this stuff, and they have these team meetings. They have meetings, man, before shows. I ain't buying nothing they talking about when Skip and Shannon. They talk about how, man, we just meet on the elevator and then we just sit down. That's the first time we see each other. Man, knock it off. Knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. Everybody have production meetings. You have production meetings. You go and you talk about what you're going to say on the show, and then you sit down and you talk. That gives you an opportunity to think. Like you already know what's coming up. So I'm not buying this stuff. Like they try to make it seem like, oh man, they doing this stuff off the cuff. No, they're not. And a lot of the times, these guys that have these shows, their interns tell you, well, I learned this. Such and such had these many touchdowns when he against man coverage. Or he caught these many passes when he in zone coverage. And then on top of that, if you notice, they have an earbud in their ear. So if they mess up on a word or they mess up somebody's name or, if they incorrectly spill out some type of something analytically, there's somebody in their ear. So these people are basically just going around here to basically telling you hot takes, so you can keep on coming in. But when people eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, when they love it, when there's nothing more they rather do than to give you this information, that's when you get in the real. Forget about all the rest of this nonsensical stuff that's going on around here. That's just the truth. So anybody that feel like they getting the real deal, I'm pretty sure there's a level of passion behind it, but a lot of times I just feel like these guys lose themselves trying to appease the television companies, the sponsors, all that kind of stuff, And something with Atlanta, our secondary on the road versus home is night and day. Too loud in the dome, our secondary can't hear. We give up 16 points per game on the road, 24 plus at home, a full touchdown difference. Well, the Superdome to me has definitely lost its mystique. Do you think that think Jeff and other scouts and Mickey taking Mike T consideration of his opinion on Olave, Wilson, or some other wide receivers? Your thoughts? Dada, thank you very much for the $5. Yeah, but not that much. Not that much. I think that they may take it into consideration, but at the end of the day, those guys are going to do what they want to do. Those guys have a level of arrogance about themselves, like they're good at their job. So you're good at your job, catching the ball and running routes. I'm good at the job at putting these numbers together and bringing in the right pieces to complement you to generate success. So maybe they do, but I don't think that, man, we got to call up Mike to see what Mike going to say about this. No, I don't think it's going to go that far. TJ, are Saints going to draft Connor Haywood, tight end out of Michigan State, son of the late great Craig Ironhead Haywood? I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Tight end is the least of the Saints' trouble. I think that they have bigger fish to fry when it comes to the offensive line. If they don't sign Teron Armstead, what you going to do with that? Wide receiver, what you going to do with that? Alvin Kamara, going to miss a few games, and you got Mark Ingram getting up there in age. What you going to do with that? They might draft if he's there late. Maybe they can draft him, when you handle and fix some of these other issues that you have. And not to mention the safety position too, you have, Marcus Williams leaving, so what are you going to do with that? But speaking of tight end, that's a good segue. Appreciate that. Let's talk about Jawan Johnson. Jawan Johnson received a 1-year extension with the New Orleans Saints. Congratulations to him. Jawan Johnson, to me, had a solid season. I don't understand why he wasn't playing in some of those games, why he wasn't dressed in a few of those games. Maybe it was his ability to, his lack of ability to block the way that Sean Payton wanted him to block. But all I know is Jawan Johnson is a good red zone threat. He's good in the slot. I think he can do a lot of damage from his ability, from his past, being a wide receiver, transitioning to the tight end position. I think that he, is a good player. And I think that you're going to be able to capitalize on what you built this past season. I've seen him getting a little bit better. And once again, I think he's going to be a huge red zone threat. So congratulations to him. To me, when you look at some of those tight ends, when it comes to upside, who I feel like has the most upside, I have to say Jawan Johnson does. Jawan Johnson, to me, has more upside than Adam Troutman, than Nick Vernett. I think that he can possibly be a starter if he works on his blocking. If his blocking improves, you already know he can catch the ball. He can catch the ball in traffic. So if he can improve on his blocking as a tight end, watch out. Could be one of the best tight ends in the league. Can be like a young Jared Cook. I'm sorry if I missed your take on the movie Home Team, but what did you think at the end of the movie? The real Sean Payton says, "We suck without you." Do you think that hurt him to say that? Nah, man, that was just a joke. It didn't hurt him at all. But as far as the movie Home Team, I saw it. If I never seen it again in life, I wouldn't be upset about that. Okay. I thought it had some funny parts, but it was a movie. Okay. But it's interesting, that they made a movie based on that. It was more of a comedy than anything. But no, I don't think it hurt him when he said, "We really suck without you." I just think that he was just doing that as a joke, but that's not, if I never seen that movie again ever in life, I wouldn't be mad. That's what a lot of people not focus on. We may need to take a running back. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. This may sound crazy, y'all, but what about Saquon? You know what I'm saying? What about Saquon Barkley? Look, but I know some people will say, well, Saquon always hurt. But here's the thing, all right? If you could buy Saquon and Alvin Kamara in the same backfield, that would preserve Saquon. I'm talking about just for 1 year until you figure it out. Mark Ingram, is on a 1-year deal. And we know that Saquon Barkley, most likely, he probably going to end up leaving the Giants regardless. So you can use him for maybe 1 year, kind of similar to how you did with Eli Apple. And then, if it works out, then you can re-sign him. And the thing about it is with Saquon, he's not going to get that much money. I mean, he's going to have almost 2,000 yards this season in order for anybody to be considering him as, a top-notch running back and giving him top-notch money. So, I mean, why not? Why not somebody like that? I mean, he can catch the ball out of backfield. He can run in between the tackles. You don't know how long a guy like Alvin Kamara is going to be out. So, based on this, I mean, who knows? We all know that the NFL hates the Saints, So a 6-game suspension for one player might be a 10-game suspension for a Saints player, okay? So a player of this magnitude, the fact that they feel like they can really take the Saints down, in my humble opinion, by suspending this man long term, why not? Saquon Barkley can give you the same things that Alvin Kamara can. He can catch the ball out of backfield. He can run in between the tackles. And, I think he'll be a good fit, between him and Alvin Kamara being, being a 1-2 punch. Why not? I mean, and you basically just have him for 1 year or something, if you don't want, because I believe they picked up, this extension or whatever like that. So, you'll have him for at least 1 year. And if it just doesn't pan out, you let him go test free agency. Same convert lie. I would take him. I mean, he's a free agent. Please don't get me started on Eli Apple. Yeah, Eli Apple, he was the talk of Mardi Gras, man. They had a lot of signs and a lot of T-shirts that were focused on Eli Apple that were hilarious. Saquon would be sweet, but what's the cost for his services? Well, I mean, he's still on his rookie deal right now. He hasn't signed an extension. But I know a lot of his money was guaranteed, which would help the New Orleans Saints. You know what I'm saying? Because his money is not stretched out over the course of time. So I think it would help them, that a lot of his money was guaranteed. It's those incentives and, in some of these contracts that stretched out to, a long period of time is the ones that help, that hurt the team. What would you give for Saquon? He is realistically only worth maybe a fifth. The best ability is availability. Exactly. So yeah, I'll give up look, I even give up a 3rd-round pick for him. You know what I'm saying? I give up a 3rd for him. You know, like for the fact that I know, you know, putting him in my offense, it will make it better. His ability to run in between the tackles, catch out of the backfield, and be able to serve as that backup, you know, until AK gets back. And then when you have him and AK in the backfield, yeah, of course. And then on top of that, look, we all know that the Saints this year are really going to be trying to put emphasis on the run. So I think that it will help Saquon because it will help him get back into football shape. And also I think that sharing the backfield actually helps these running backs. It's not like the days of when Emmitt Smith was carrying the ball 33, 34 times, or even now in more modern days, Derrick Henry carrying the ball 25, 30 times a game. You have running backs, if they split time, it preserves their career. And a lot of them are willing to do that because they can play for a couple of years and then they can maybe get another contract or even 2 out the deal. Most running backs get maybe 1, you know what I'm saying? If you're lucky, 2. You know, I mean, if you stretch out your career, you know, sharing a backfield, you can get 3 contract extensions. So I think that it will work. I think that the Saints may need to consider that, you know, based on the fact that Alvin Kamara could possibly get suspended, you know, for X amount of games, and then, you know, like you said, Saquon can give you the same type of production as Alvin Kamara, and he can do some of the things that Alvin can, including, you know, blitz pickup. So I say, why not? I mean, we all know that New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants have this type of relationship where they always seem to, you know, get the Saints always seem to get those Giant players who Eli Apple, Janoris Jenkins, right? So why not? I know why Sean didn't go to Miami. Miami got a new law that says you have to play Will Smith's Welcome to Miami every time you enter the city limits. Sean didn't want to do that, so he turned down the job. Oh, man. Look, man. Hey, Welcome to Miami by Will Smith. That's an anthem, man. That song still go hard, man. I enjoy Welcome to Miami. What about Todd Gurley? He was literally the best running back in 2018. He'll be a good backup behind Alvin Kamara. Tyrese, look, I guess, you know what I'm saying, I can say give it a chance, because if I'm saying give Saquon a chance, why not Todd Gurley? But Todd Gurley has a little bit of an issue that's deeper than what Saquon had with the ankles and the ACLs. Like, this dude has arthritis in the knees. You know what I'm saying? Like, that mean that is eating away at you. It's killing your ability to cut and do some of the things that made you special as a running back. Not to mention, you know, I mean, tearing his ACL at Georgia. I think he tore both of them, if I'm not mistaken. Then, you know what I'm saying, you tear it in, you know what I'm saying, in the league. And then, like I said, you get arthritis. So I think that, you know, his battle is a little bit of a tougher battle than Saquon. I would love to see Todd Gurley be the Todd Gurley of old. I don't want to see guys that are good at their positions end up, like, you know, falling off. You know, I enjoy watching Saquon play. But, you know, it's going to, I mean, not Saquon, but Todd. I enjoy watching Todd Gurley play, you know, but that's going to be tough for him. But me personally, like I said, I think Saquon would be a good fit for the Saints. Plus, Saquon is a good blocker. Absolutely. Saquon ran all over the Saints. Yeah, he definitely did a good job against them. So, like I said, I would definitely consider that. Let me see. I'll go get Todd Gurley. He'll be perfect behind Alvin Kamara. Like I said, man, I mean, just that arthritis in them knees, man, it's gonna be an uphill battle for that dude. Having CC Khan, Berkeley, Michael Thomas Belk, having Alvin Kamara back after the expansion. I guess you mean suspension, and Mark Ingram. Yeah, I think, man, look, the Saints need to fix that offense. That should be their top priority. I agree. 3 running backs is all you need. 1 for special teams and 2 full-time split. The carries will help them both a lot. Yeah, I just think that sharing the backfield helps. I mean, you think about some of these classic thunder and lightning, combos. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris, right? You know, you think about in more modern times, you think about, Ahmad Bradshaw, right? You know what I'm saying? You think about, like guys like that, you know what I'm saying? Like how they used to have to share a backfield, you know what I'm saying? Thunder and Lightning with him and Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? Like you think about those combinations, it always was a 1-2 punch. And I just think that if the Saints like go that route, I think they'll be fine. Now you're starting to see teams like they'll have that finesse runner, guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and then they have that sledgehammer. It's very rare that you see a team have one running back and they just do it all. You see guys like teams like Indianapolis get Jonathan Taylor, and then you have Tennessee who got Derrick Henry. But a lot of teams they try to go there, get that 1-2 punch. We need Bryce Hall. He's a JT clone. Gurley is washed, man. Ingram still fits the backup role good. Keep Ingram. Well, Ingram's still here, man. He still has a 1-year contract. So, I mean, he's still here. And, Mark Ingram always touches on this, and he's right. Throughout his career, he's always shared the backfield with somebody. He shared the backfield with Pierre Thomas. He shared the backfield, with Alvin Kamara. He shared the backfield with Darren Sproles. So he doesn't have like all the tread, off the tires like some of these other running backs that's like 31, 32 years old. I mean, he's still relatively young when it comes to when it comes to like football years, right? If you think about the mileage, right? You can have a 2013 vehicle, right? But if it has low miles on it, it's still going to take you just as far as a 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just think that Mark Ingram still has a lot left in the tank. Honestly, we could really use the services of Marshawn Lynch, right, TJ? Well, yeah, for commentary, for commentary, but nah. I mean, I think Marshawn Lynch is doing a really good job. I think he's doing a really good job, man, doing these commercials and life after football, Which wide receiver would you take at 18 pick if Jameson Williams and Chris Olave is still available? I'm going with Chris Olave. I said this earlier, who that Dana? I would take Chris Olave over Jameson Williams. I just like his skill set that matches what the Saints do versus Jameson Williams. Both guys, to me, are going to have stellar careers, but I just rather go with Chris Olave. Hey, TJ, the majority of the people that talk bad about the Saints, if you think about it, are the bandwagon jumpers, the undercover haters, because I think Jameis deserves to. Okay. Well, yeah, Phil. Yeah, Jameis definitely deserves a second chance. He definitely deserves another glance. Yeah, man. I just think that some people like what they like. And by like, I mean, the stereotypical quarterback. They had a guy on social media the other day. I know for a fact, like what he said about Jameis, like basically it wasn't even about him. It was just something that he felt deep down inside. A lot of us try to hide our prejudices and we try to wrap it up in quarterback performance. But in reality, it has absolutely nothing to do with the guy being a quarterback and everything to do with the fact that you're a racist. But you got people out here who, don't like Jameis, don't feel like he's the right fit, and that aren't racist. But there's a lot of people that are. And you can tell when people start coming up with nonsensical stuff that that doesn't even equate to the type of quarterback or skill set that Jameis has, that, they just like, oh, man, whatever. We don't need him in here. So you come up with just basically a bunch of nonsensical rhetoric, to try to justify your so-called quote unquote air quotes I'm using right now, hatred or dislike for Jameis Winston. But it has everything to do with the fact that you're a racist. There are some people out here, man, look, I lived in Louisiana almost my entire life. For 19 years of my life, I lived in Louisiana. And for us to believe that everybody is around there, love people based on the color of their skin and we holding hands saying we are the world. No, we love to hear stuff like that, but there are people out here who still have that mind frame, and they'll say things like, I'm too old to change. When they say I'm too old to change, we all know what they're talking about. So And I'm not saying everybody that has their opinions and reservations about Jameis are racist, but there are a fair share of people that do. And the other ones that really just don't want to give him a chance, I just feel like without television and without sports pundits, they wouldn't even know about football. So a lot of them are just reciting what they hear. The guy that they're listening to said Jameis isn't good, so therefore he isn't good, right? But you don't look at it from your own perspective. You don't do any type of research. You don't try to analyze it. What you do is you just take what those guys say and run with it. So if they say Jameis isn't a good quarterback, I heard they said that Jameis ain't a good quarterback, so he's not a good quarterback. So no matter what he does, he's never going to be a good quarterback. But you're doing yourself a disservice if you do it like that. Hoodie Jube, thank you very much for the 199. Says, what about running back Johnson from the Cleveland Browns? Yeah, Duke Johnson would be good too. Yeah, Duke Johnson is a good running back. Good, running back, catch the ball out of the backfield. But I feel like he leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to running in between the tackles, Hoodie Jube. Yes, he can do that, but I think that his bread is buttered on third downs. Saints should pick Chris Olave. I agree with that one, Sam. Josh says we got to find a way to sign Dez Bryant again, right, TJ? I know what you're doing, Josh, but I mistakenly erased the Bishop Bullwinkle from the lineup, so I have to put him. I have to put him back in. So he's not. I don't have that in my archives anymore right now, so I have to install that again. So I know what you're trying to do, but I can't press the button right now. I know Brother Jameson was the most impactful player in college football last year. If not, who else was? Davenport, he was, man, but that doesn't always equate to success. And that does not mean that he's just going to be the undisputed best wide receiver that's in this draft. I mentioned in this lineup, you have guys who have stellar college careers, guys that put up astronomical numbers, but they don't always end up being the best player. And then they may not end up being the best fit for your organization. And I'm not saying that Jameson Williams isn't going to be a good wide receiver. I'm just saying from a skill set and from, I feel like, a offensive standpoint when it comes to the Saints, I just feel like Chris Olave would be a better fit. Now, if Jameson Williams was to get drafted by the New Orleans Saints, I think that he would do a good job. I think that they'll find a way to use him. But when it comes to like what the Saints are doing, what I feel like they built already offensively, I just feel like he would fit this organization. I'm talking Chris Olave like a glove. Dada, thank you very much for $5. Says, what would be a curveball at the first round picking? In my opinion, nobody would think of would be a defensive tackle for me. Your thoughts, TJ? Not necessarily. No, it wouldn't be. I do feel like the Saints need to get a complimentary nose tackle, a guy on the interior, somebody that can help out Davion Yamada. So that wouldn't surprise me. The timing of it would be, eyebrow raiser because you have other needs more important to me than the interior. And I do honestly feel like you can possibly get a guy at free agency for the cheap that can give you good run support. You know what I'm saying? But wouldn't surprise me. Like left tackle wouldn't surprise me. Anything on the offensive line wouldn't surprise me. Now, if you go running back, tight end, or a cornerback, now that would surprise me. Now that definitely would surprise me. But honestly, I don't think there are going to be too many surprises this year. Like I don't. I think that a lot of the surprises had a lot to do with Sean Payton. I think they tried to collaborate. I'm talking Mickey Loomis, Jeff Ireland in the front office. They tried to collaborate with Sean Payton. And, Sean Payton probably liked, a certain guy's size, his wingspan, his ability, and they wanted to appease Sean Payton. So I think that you're probably going to be seeing more sure things, more notoriety, more guys who have played at the top level in college football being drafted by the Saints than years past. Because I just think that Sean Payton has a knack for finding guys who are diamonds in the rough, guys that he considers as being like unsung heroes of teams and trying to turn them into legitimate playmakers. But I just think that now that he's gone, you're probably going to be seeing guys that you're more familiar with from bigger name schools that can come in and have immediate impact on day one. Not Duke, young one who played because both running backs were injured. Oh, Jawan Johnson is okay. Okay, got you. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, what I'm saying, like, he'll be a good fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I have to, I mean, for right now, for what, what I'm saying, like, until, like, if we're talking about to Alvin Kamara get back, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. He can give you something. He has some good wiggle. Has some good low sense of, gravity. I mean, he decent, but I don't know, man. I'm talking about like close to or identical production that Alvin Kamara can give you. And I just think that Saquon Barkley is the guy. I think that he will be the guy. If you're looking for a guy who can give you similar production in the absence of a guy like a Alvin Kamara, I will have to roll with Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm talking about like man, if you were to lose a guy like Alvin Kamara, for an extended amount of time. I mean, you got some place fillers now. You got some guys that can, that you can replace them with. But like, let's just say if Kenyon Drake was out there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me look at the free agent running back list, if y'all don't mind. And then we'll end the show on that note. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna read some of these guys that are on the free agent list as I pull this up. Okay, so let's see what we got. But yeah, I mean, I just think that I'm looking at guys that can give me like similar, similar or like a little bit below or a little bit above what Alvin Kamara can give you. And I'm looking at this list. I'm looking at it right now. Let me just change this to running backs. So update this. All right, so we got running backs. We got Melvin Gordon, right? Melvin Gordon's going to try to get market value. 2021, he made $8 million. Could he give you the same type of production, a little bit more? Probably. You know what I'm saying? Probably would. David Johnson, not going to give you the same type of production, but, you can do some things with him. Jalen Richard, from Las Vegas, short guy, be able to catch the ball out of backfield. You can use him. Leonard Fournette, he can give you some production. Philip Lindsay can give you some production. Cordero Patterson, I'm pretty sure Atlanta, if they smart, they would re-sign this dude, which I'm pretty sure they will. Raheem Mostert, he can give you some, production running in between the tackles if trying to do some smash mouth stuff. He can also catch the ball out of backfield. You got Rashard Penny, who's more of a battering ram. So looking at some of these guys, based on this free agent list, a Fournette can give you like or similar production. Melvin Gordon can give you like a little bit below, but, you wouldn't be mad at the production. David Johnson, I don't think so. Cordero Patterson definitely could. Okay, so it's very few guys, right? I'm looking at guys that can give me that same type of production or something. Like I said, if it's below that line that Alvin Kamara gives you around 6 weeks, fine. But not to a point where you're like, man, I really miss this dude. That's what I'm thinking about. The Ernest, do not roll with the phony name. Let's see. Saquon has been a walking Band-Aid. Let me see. So more of the same. David, that's because, look, to me, I think it's a my apologies, I pressed the wrong button. But anyway, yeah, look, I think it's completely different when you have a guy and he's taken up the majority of the snaps at the running back position. When you are sharing a backfield with a guy, right, I think that it preserves your running back shelf life. I think it preserves that. Cartel says, what up, TJ? What's your take on Garrett Wilson? Good wide receiver. Wouldn't be surprised if he's the first wide receiver off the board. Wouldn't surprise me at all. He's that good. And I just think that his, what he does at the combine is just going to confirm that. So wouldn't surprise me. That's one of the main reasons I haven't mentioned his name, because I feel like he's going to be the top wide receiver off the board. When it comes to skill set, when it comes to playmaking ability, to me, he reminds me a lot of Justin Jefferson, a guy that's kind of unheralded a little bit, and probably going to make a lot of noise when he makes the league. Richard ran all over us in 2016 game, him and Murray. Yeah, man, look, Richard is a really good running back. I mean, he's one of those guys, that's a good complimentary back and a guy that can really be used on third down. I just think that the Saints have a great ability and a great advantage when it comes to Alvin Kamara being able to never leave the field. He can catch the ball and he can run in between the tackles. I'm going to take a few more and then we're going to get up out of here. Davenport says it'll free Davenport up for 20 sacks and Cam. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. If you have yourself a dominant guy, which I think that's a guy that we're not giving an opportunity or a chance. And the Saints drafted him in the first round last year. And he kind of falls on the radar, and that's Peyton Turner. Like, none of us are really talking about Peyton Turner right now. Nobody talk about Peyton Turner, man, a guy who is versatile, can work outside and inside. But folks, I got to go ahead and go. I want to acknowledge Dada because he donated his $5. Says, I hope those days are gone with us drafting people, especially old linemen, change their positions in the pros. Yeah, Dada, like, hopefully we get some guys that we can recognize. But folks, I got to go ahead and get up out of here. My afternoon show at the station is about to start. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Once again, I encourage everybody to subscribe to the new channel. First episode, the Crescent City Connection podcast. I'm putting a link down in the comments right now. It's going to premiere on Friday, me alongside my big brother, EJ Jones. We're going to be talking about different sports. It's going to be a sports talk show where we're going to be talking a little bit more than just talking New Orleans Saints. We're going to be talking about NBA. We're going to be talking about NFL and even a little bit Major League Baseball with the lockout going on. So please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you give this show, the State of the Saints podcast, a like before you leave here today. If you like the show, if you like the content, you want the show to grow, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscription button to the Crescent City Connection, as well as the State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Thank you all so much. You can follow me on Twitter at TJJones8. That's TJAY Jones 8. Thank you to the sponsor, manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints. All one word, State of Saints. You will save 20% off of your purchase. You all have a great morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?